Hey, and welcome everybody. This is Sherman Ray, and this is Godstream News. I want to welcome everybody to the broadcast today. I've got a packed lineup of stuff. Before we get going, I want to remind you that if you're watching us, this may be your first time you're watching us online, that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let everybody know, let all your friends know that Godstream News is out. And so we want to really encourage you to do that. Also, so let's put that subscribe sign up there. There you go. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Love to have you there. The more you subscribe, the more we're able to get out there and let everybody know about Godstream. So let's go ahead and get started with some interesting stuff that is in the news. Many of you have already heard this already, so it's probably going to come as no surprise to you. But the Supreme Court, handed down a decision, excuse me, 6-3 decision on the Trump immunity charges. And what this all stemmed from was that prosecutors are trying to say that the Trump presidency has no immunity, and the former President Donald Trump is saying no, that we have full immunity as a president of the United States. We can do a lot of things during our term as president, and we shouldn't be prosecuted for it. Well, here's a story from, this is an SRN News. I think we also see the same thing at the AP. The Supreme Court on Monday extended the delay in Washington criminal case against Donald Trump on charges he plotted to overturn his 2020 presidential election loss, all but ending prospects the former president could be tried before the November election. In a historic 6-3 ruling, the justices said for the first time that former presidents have absolute immunity from prosecution for their official acts and no immunity for unofficial acts. But rather than do it themselves, the justices ordered lower courts to figure out precisely how to apply the decision to Trump's case. The outcome means additional delays before Trump could face trial in the case brought by special counsel Jack Smith. Now, this is just a fascinating story where the former president of the United States has been, as you've known, if you've been keeping track of this, he's been just bombarded with all kinds of accusations and allegations about how he's the worst thing that's ever been put on this earth. And this last court case that he was in, he actually lost. He lost, and he was tried, convicted of 34 counts, 34 felonies in a Manhattan jurisdiction. And here's the problem with this whole thing is that Democrats have been trying to use the law, they call it lawfare, to try and destroy the sitting president of the United States. Or excuse me, the former president of the United States. Now, many of us, we're looking at it and we're going, you're kind of scratching your head and you're going, well, how can this be? How can, if Trump is innocent, how can he be tried for these cases? Well, it's very easy. If you've got a Department of Justice and you've got state prosecutors who are all on your side, they can do pretty much anything they want. And this is akin to what they call a banana court, or something that happens in banana republics, where they see in Venezuela, Guatemala, Nicaragua, the Soviet Union, China, any place but the United States, you find that they can do stuff like that. They can actually try you for things that you just can't imagine that they'd be able to try you for. But here in the United States, you wouldn't think that would happen, but it has. The Trump administration has been under fire basically since day one, and they finally have been able to set their sights on them and say, look, you are guilty of this. So now, as the president is running for re-election, and he is beating Joe Biden all over the place in swing states, in states that we thought were going to be toss-up states, Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan right now, has said Michigan is out of play, that President Biden is not going to be able to win that state. Well, what do you do if you cannot win an election fair and square? And that's what we find out. That's right. You hang your opponent on from the closest tree, and you hope that something sticks. You keep them in court case after court case. And in this last one, Jack Smith he was the third volley of prosecutors who's had their chance. They call it the bite at the apple, where the president has been sitting patiently being prosecuted. But the Supreme Court said no. In this case, Mr. Smith, you're not going to be able to prosecute the president. You're not going to be able to call him once again another convicted felon. And as a result of that, that court case won't even be. They won't even be able to try that court case until after the election. So it looks like Jack Smith is going to lose again. He'll probably drop the case. I can almost guarantee you will, because it's not going to do him any good now for him to be able to bring this case up, because they won't be able to convict Trump before the election. And that's really what their modus operandi was. For those of you, this might be the first time you're watching us. I'm Sherman Ray, and this is Godstream News. If you're watching this for the first time, guys, we really encourage you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let everybody know that you love what you're seeing here. We love to have you here all the time. We come on pretty much every day. And we're going to try to bring on some new shows, which would be great. We've got something we're working on right now. We're very excited about some new shows that we're working on for Godstream. So just keep your finger, keep tuned in here, and you'll be able to see it. So I'm very excited about it. Our next story is about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and this really has something to do with what this same story that we led off the show with about the Supreme Court. She is vowing to file articles of impeachment against the Supreme Court. Can you believe this? Oh my gosh. Yeah, Representative Alexandria Ocasio threatened to bring articles of impeachment against the Supreme Court after Monday's immunity ruling regarding former President Donald Trump. Now here's the crazy thing about it. So many of us know that there are three branches of government. Okay, three branches of government. Okay, there's the legislative branch. There's the legislative. There's the executive branch, and there's the judicial branch. Okay, there's three levels. Okay, and they're all co-equal. Okay, they're all co-equal. That means the president can't push around the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court cannot push around Congress. Okay. Unless you're Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or you're a Democrat who doesn't get your way. Now, this is the crazy thing about it. Once again, we saw this story as we led off where the Supreme Court of the United States in really, this is not a landmark case, guys. I want you to understand this. This is not a landmark case. What the Supreme Court said was that the law of the land is still the law of the land. A president of the United States he's always had immunity in regards to his official capacity as president. Okay? Does that make sense? What that means is the president of the United States, according to the Constitution, has always had the immunity that will cover him in case if he's executing his official position as president of the United States. Now, if he's a normal citizen, he's walking on the road and takes a gun and shoots somebody, that's not your official capacity. You can be prosecuted because of that, okay? But if you as a president send men to war, you do, whatever you're doing in your official capacity as president of the United States, you do something and people don't like it, sorry, that's just the way it is. You're doing your job, okay? There's a lot of things they do. All the Supreme Court of the United States said was, yes, that is correct. That's all they said. Because Jack Smith, special counsel, Department of Justice, brought charges up against the president saying that during the January 6th uprising, that the president, who was trying to figure out if he had actually lost the presidency of the United States due to what he believed were voting irregularities, there were election irregularities. And now this is undisputed. Okay, this is undisputed that there were not irregularities. What the local courts said in all these jurisdictions was, oh, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Now you can argue this all day long. Okay, you can argue that all day long. But President Donald Trump, in his official capacity as president of the United States, was saying, no, this is wrong, and I'm going to get to the bottom of this. And he questioned the validity of the outcome of the election, just like Hillary Clinton has done, just like Al Gore did, just like every other person who's ever lost the presidency of the United States has done. They have said, no, this is wrong. The difference is President Trump was the president at the time. So discharging his job as president of the United States, he was questioning the validity of the outcome of the election. And so Jack Smith brought these charges against him. And it's like, well, no, that's you can't bring charges against him because he wasn't wrong. He was doing what he's supposed to do. He was making sure it ran right. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is saying, no, you're wrong because you figured it out. So she wants to bring a lawsuit. Isn't that crazy? Because she didn't win. And that I don't know. That to me sounds crazy. Why didn't she just do this? AOC, why don't you do this? Why don't you just tell everybody I'm leaving the country? Just leave the country and say, I don't like it here in America, and just leave. Okay? Because that would probably make as much sense as what you just did. Okay? No, you're not going to leave the country because this is the greatest place in the world. So why would you continue just to act like a baby because you don't get your way? Okay? So this is it's another crazy story here. Excuse me. Clarence Thomas is in the news. He swipes at special counsel Jack Smith's appointment in SCOTUS immunity case. Clarence Thomas says there are serious questions about special Jack Smith's appointment. Wow. So somebody's like going, hey, we don't think things are right here. In the Supreme Court's monumental decision in former President Trump's immunity case, one justice questioned whether special counsel Jack Smith, at the helm of the Trump unprecedented prosecution, was constitutionally appointed. What? On Monday, a 63 majority ruled the president has substantial immunity. Of course, we've been talking about this all the time. But one of the Supreme Court justices says, oh, I don't know. So the president, Jack Smith is saying that the president is not above the law, but Congress may not criminalize the president's conduct in carrying out the responsibilities of the executive branch. In a separate concurring opinion, Justice Clarence Thomas looked to highlight another way in which this prosecution may violate our constitutional structure, the appointment of Jack Smith as a special counsel. This should be interesting. I think this is going to be actually be interesting. How did Jack Smith get to be the special prosecutor on this particular case? Who brought up these charges? Was it constitutional for this to happen? In this case, there has been much discussion about ensuring that the president is not above the law, but as the court explains, the president's immunity from prosecution for his official acts is the law. Okay, we've talked about this before. Respecting the protections in the Constitution provided for the office of presidency secures liberty. In that same vein, the Constitution also secures liberty by separating the powers that created and fill offices. And there are serious questions whether the Attorney General has violated that structure by creating an office of the special counsel that has not been established by law. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Thomas added that those questions must be answered before this prosecution can proceed. This is very, very interesting. So we don't know if Jack Smith's office was even constitutionally valid. And yet, at this point, everybody's going, "Oh yeah, he's a great guy. He's a prosecutor. He's a prosecutor." So, yes, and he's got a special name, and he's got all these letters behind his name. So maybe he's special. So, who would have ever thunk, right? Who would have thunk that this would actually ever happen? That the Supreme Court justice would go, "Wait a minute. Come to think about it, are you even supposed to be here? How are you able to?" It's like the Lord looks, from the Bible, goes, I know and him I know, but I don't know you. How did you get here? So this will be interesting to find out. And what mechanism can the Supreme Court use to bring justice? Okay, that's not they. I don't know what their job is. I don't know if they're able to subpoena or anything like that. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm a pastor and a commentator. So I don't know if that's really something they can do, but that will be very interesting to find out. Now, this will be the interesting thing. What if the Supreme Court finds that Jack Smith, his appointment as a special prosecutor, that it's unconstitutional? Doing, right? What if they find out that it is? They're going to find out who did this. And what kind of punishment should there be? Wow. We've got a few more minutes, folks. I've got another story here. This one is out of the New York Post. Historians who accurately predict elections urges Democrats not to dump Biden, and it could not be more misguided. Wow, this is an interesting story. Said a presidential historian who has accurately predicted the results of 9 of the last 10 elections implored Democrat Party leaders once again Monday not to dump President Biden after his catastrophic debate performance and chastised members of the media for harping on his diminished cognitive acuity. They could not be more misguided, American University professor Alan Lichtman said on a CNN News Central, after having made the same assessments Friday night on the cable network. So what does he know? Remember all the pundits, watched Hillary Clinton win 3 debates in 2016, Lichtman added. They all said Trump was finished after Access Hollywood. And they are so often wrong. Oh, so presidential prognosticator then waved away concerns about the 81-year-old president's mental fitness. So it sounds to me like Mr. Lichtman thinks that President Biden can win. In terms of Biden's capacities, I'm not a neurologist. They are not neurologists. They have no standing to comment on that, Lichtman said before echoing the White House and top Democrat spin. I would only say far better to judge Biden by 3 and 3.25 years or so of his presidency than 90 minutes. So here's the deal. So Mr. Lichtman says that, I think that's what he's trying to allude to here, is that he thinks that Mr. Biden is going to win. That just because his he looked like like somebody who probably shouldn't be running for office during the 90-minute presidential debate a couple of days ago, doesn't mean that he's going to lose. Here's the problem. Because if he would have just said, hey, guess what? He just had an off day. Here's the problem. People are not judging President Biden because of the 90 minutes that he had, a bad time. They're not judging him by that at all. That to everybody else is the icing on the cake. It really is. It's the icing on the cake. What they hoped they would see, what Democrat analysts, what Republicans, what pollsters, what everybody thought was going to happen was that that Joe Biden could actually at least stand there and look good. Okay, barring that, people were saying that the reason why they're not going to vote for President Biden was because of the border, because of the economy, because of safety, because of them not being able to buy a house, because of the all the crap that's going on external to him being not there physically. They don't want him there anymore. As a matter of fact, my wife and I were talking about this just recently, and how we believe that there's a sense of optimism in America right now. Oh yeah, a sense of optimism, because now people know there's only a couple more months. They're counting it down. They've got their calendars out now. People have their calendars out and they're going, a couple more months, he's gone. A couple more months, Trump gets in. I may not like the guy, but guess what? At least I know that he's going to probably start drilling for oil. Prices are going to go down. The border's going to get closed. I can go back to work. I can probably buy a house in a couple of years. Hallelujah. But they know if Biden is left in office for any more time, Democrats are going to destroy America. My goodness. Here's the deal. If it was just about Joe Biden in the last 90 minutes, the 90 minutes, guess what? He would have been... I think things would have happened differently. It was, people are fed up. I talked about this recently to my church, and one of the things we were saying was that the pendulum has swung in America. It's swung all the way to the left. Left. You've got homosexuality, you've got LGBTQ, you've got the border, you've got inflation, you've got the Green New Deal, you got woke ideology, you've got theft, you've got all this stuff, you've got homelessness everywhere. And then you've got Afghanistan, you've got Israel, you've got all this stuff, okay? We are as far left as we possibly could. That pendulum has gone so far left that it's almost out of sight. And America said, that's it, we're done. Okay, Dems, we thought we'd let you guys in office. We thought that maybe we could give you guys a chance at it because we don't like Trump. You guys promised us that Joe Biden would get into office and that he was going to be the cool guy. He was going to be the adult guy. And then you lied to us about Hunter Biden. Okay, I think people knew this. They knew that Hunter Biden laptop was probably already true, but they didn't know it was on the laptop because all the social media sites basically lied to them. So they didn't know. So we didn't know what was on the laptop. So we were able to, so we didn't know. So we just let it slide by. But then the liberal policies started to kick in. And people were saying, California, they're outlawing gas-powered cars. They're outlawing gas-powered anything. If you've got a lawn service, guess what? You're screwed. Because now you've got to retrofit all of your stuff away from that brand new Briggs and Stratton or that, whatever lawnmower you just bought, that fleet of them that you bought for all your guys. You have to can all those and buy DeWalt. You've got to buy, and it's nothing wrong with DeWalt. There's nothing wrong with DeWalt at all. They're pretty good stuff, actually. But you weren't ready for that. You were ready just to make money. And now President Biden is trying to do that nationally. Oh yeah, they're going to try to do the same thing. They're going to try to outlaw gas-powered cars. So you can't buy a gas-powered car. Why? Because they're socialists. Because they said so. People are tired of it, guys. They're so sick and tired of it. It's ridiculous. That they're tired of being told what to do. Every 2 minutes, you got some lefty coming out there telling you, hey, you've got to do this and you've got to do that. This is America. We didn't fight and die so that somebody on the left coast or on the east coast could tell us what to do, in my daily life. We didn't die and fight for our rights so we can have some guy come up to us and say, hey, look, your daughter is going to be dressing in the same turlet as some guy whose name was Butch yesterday, but now it's Belinda. Whatever, okay? That's not cool, okay? So, now we find ourselves, we were there, Now that pendulum is starting to swing, guys. It is starting to swing the other direction, and it's going like a vengeance now because people are sick and tired. They told us for a couple of decades that you have to listen to rock and roll and death metal and all this other stuff, and now you've got governors in certain states going, you know what, we're bringing the Bible back. Hallelujah. We're bringing the Bible back, and people are going, what? You're bringing back the Bible? Yes, they're bringing the Bible back, and in one school district, they're saying you have to teach the Bible in every single school. You've got to teach people the heritage of America. And people are going, well, that's just not good. You can't do that. I'm going, wait a minute. So you can tell Sally that she's got to live with a guy she's got to dress and undress in front of a guy named Butch, but you've got a problem with somebody teaching your kids the historical foundations of this country. Let me see. There's something wrong with this picture here. There's something wrong with people saying that you've got to celebrate an ideology and a way of life that is abhorrent to 99% of the globe, but because they're loud and they're out there, that we've got to do that. There's something wrong with this, you guys. And America is coming back. It's going to the right coast. And not only is it coming to the right coast, folks, it's coming to the right decision. Because America is done. We're done with listening to the people telling us that we can't do this, and we can do this, and we can't do this, and we can do this. And it's just driving me crazy. Okay, I'm done. I've pontificated enough, you guys. Anyways, once again, folks, we encourage you to like our page, to go to our Facebook page, go to our website, Godstream.org, and check it all out. It's so cool. We're gaining, we're adding new stuff to it each and every day. We're so excited about it, and it's all because of you. It's all because you like Christian programming and you love wholesome stuff. We are so excited about it. So follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Follow us on all those things. Go to our website. Let everybody know about it. Tell your friends to go to Godstream. Okay. And if you've got any opinions, you've got anything that you'd say, hey, Sherman, we'd like to see some different stuff here or something like that. Send us your opinions. Oh yeah, we'd love to hear them. We'd love to hear what you've got to say about it, because you never know, we actually might just use it. Okay. Anyways, this has been Sherman Ray, and this has been Godstream News. And we want to thank you guys for being a part of the broadcast. We will see you again tomorrow for more of Godstream News. We love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay. Bye-bye.